Hey Asheville, welcome to the post Creative Mornings AVL late morning show. My name's Tim. I'm your host for this little 8-minute, well, mostly 11 or 12 minutes, especially in a nice group of 3. I'm sitting with this month's speakers, the BeLoved Asheville crew. And it was a blessing to have you guys here today.
Thank you.
I got Adrian, Amy, and Pancho.
We were really honored to be here. It was amazing.
It was such an amazing talk. You're seeing behind us some of the set they built. And we'll post the talk in a couple weeks and you get to hear it from them. But we wanted to take a moment to ask a couple questions and get a little closer to you guys as people. So the first question that I always ask at the late morning show is, what excited you about this theme of end?
Ends have always been really transformative. I recognize those as really liminal space where something can break through that hasn't been before. And I think that we tried to really capture that in our talk. And when we said end is the beginning, and actually they're flip sides of sometimes the same coin, but sometimes you can't see it. And so being able to sit and struggle has been one of the most excruciating things that we've done, and also been the biggest gift because we have broken through to some of those new beginnings.
I thought it was beautiful the way that you guys entered the stage saying that, and with the mics and with it brought a presence that was unique to this talk, and I think it opened up the door for the message that you brought. Because it wasn't an easy message, and it's not an easy message to hear, but it has to be heard. And so we could feel that. We could feel that end is the beginning. And I like how, Pancho, you brought the hope in the end. You said, now I'm going to bring the hope. And it felt, you could feel the lift. It was this, it was a saturation of this presence. End is the beginning. End is the beginning. And I love that.
And I feel that the hope is every day. Like this for we try to do at least one good thing a day. Because do one thing a day bring you hope for the rest of the day. And I think then the dream of came here and say all these things bring hope to people. And so we are talking about the struggle, only we are talking about how we are facing the struggle. First knowing there is a struggle and later doing something about it, because this is going on in our community. So for us, it's like being aware of what is going on and be ready to do something.
To act.
And we've seen the other side, of the struggle.
Yeah.
Like we know that these things don't have to exist, and so we're really passionate about being able to break through that space of healing and hope because we've gotten to visit there through our community.
And if I can take something from your talk, having just heard it, I felt that if you ignore the end, you can't move into the beginning. So as you start facing the hard facts and the things that are so uncomfortable, that's when you start to create the beginning. You start to acknowledge and almost bring the end of things in the acknowledgement and then start the beginning. So that was beautiful. Like, it's not going to go away on its own.
That's right.
That was very,
ignoring it.
Yeah, we're ignoring it. So the next question is, what was the highlight of this morning?
I think that for me the highlight, we wake up very early in the morning. Like we usually not wake up and be ready like this early in the morning. Only I remember then we wake up and we was practicing a little bit how we gonna say the things. And I remember then Myla and Alicia, then is the twins in the house, came from downstairs and where they was jumping. I'm very happy. So like I was telling you before, for me watch the kids is a way to see how we supposed to be enjoying life. So for me, was amazing to see this in the morning and give me motivation to come here and start the day in this way.
And experience it and be present. Wow, yeah.
What do you think?
I think at the end of our talk, and Pancho was, asking, are you ready to join in? And so just immediately people just started to come up, and clearly we are aware that this makeshift cage with the painting behind it is a symbol, but it's a symbol of something that's huge, and to see people just walk up to that is an even bigger symbol that there are people ready to act.
Yeah.
So that was a really big moment for me.
You could feel it. As soon as they started getting up, you could feel it.
I mean, I had to take the tool away from somebody. It's like, okay,
That's it.
we got to wrap it up. So, yeah.
That was a special moment.
Yeah.
And I think that really, that hunger for the new place that we believe that we're moving to and trying to live into right now. And I love how you talked about this morning. It was a highlight for me of like being in the now and that gift of those endings, those deaths of the people that you were deeply connected to, and what they taught you, and how they taught you to live, and how we can, as we are in this struggle, and for us it's about people, so we're connected to people who the struggle is our lives. And those connections and that deepening, that when we come together as we face the struggle, really begins to form what is the new that's coming, which is community. So you talked about that during the Q&A, and we believe that in community lies our hope and the place where newness can come, and those beginnings are sort of offered as gifts. So for a lot of us, it was, sitting in community and those endings that then brought these incredible gifts that we never even imagined. Like the first homeless street medic team in the country.
Yeah.
And people say, how did you think that up? And it was because we sat in the awfulness, of Janet's death, and we didn't let go. We wrestled with that until it birthed something.
Yeah.
And so often I was talking to Cleester afterwards, and she was talking about how too many people skip that labor, the ending, because it's painful, and we don't, we get in that self-preservation space, and we don't want to see it or experience it, and yet those are the very places where life gives the gift of new life, and where that birth happens. And as a mom, that's the moment when joy occurs.
Yeah.
Is right in that place, that edge where pain takes you to a new place, and something else comes that is complete gift and complete joy and complete love. And so I think that for us is the inspiration of what can be, that beginning that can be offered as gift, and that we can receive, and that we can begin to create and ripple out.
And I wonder if that's the way that you can truly get through grief, is that new life that comes out of it.
Absolutely.
If you just shove it down, it'll just keep coming up.
It eats at you.
And then when you're there, and when you sit there, it starts to create something new that pushes you into the...
That's right.
Not that you forget about the grief, or not that you forget about the person, but it lets you move forward, because it had meaning.
And I think this is such a personal and such a national global. And that was what was powerful to me, is that, I think about when you say stuffing grief, and that's what we've done on a national scale.
Right. Yeah.
We've stuffed the grief of all these things that we've been a part of, that have run through our veins and through our ancestors' veins, and we haven't healed that, like you said. And so I think, for us, part of this national moment is that we have to pull the grief out and look at it and own it, and own the awful things that have happened, and the ways that my people benefited from that, the ways that people have been oppressed by that. But when we do that, that's what excites me and gets me up in the morning, is we're living in a moment of cataclysmic ends that could birth something that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like equal and opposite forces. So the greater the end, or the greater the intensity of the end, the greater the intensity of the beginning.
That's right.
And I think you brought up something very interesting about the talk. In the talk, and just now, about how the nation is involved in this, and it's like a small view in your own city. So like the tale of two cities in Asheville, where you choose to see the city that you want to see, and it's divided. And I think we are dealing with that at a national scale. We sometimes think that we're all united, but when you brought up something in one of our rehearsals, you said when we're in community, and when we are truly in a community, we have access to everything, because everyone is sharing access.
Yes.
But when we fight for when we are not in that community truly, then we're all fighting for our own thing, and that restricts access. And not everyone has access, and we even suffer for it, whether we like to acknowledge it or not. So it's brought up some really, really deep, and I think thoughts and ideas that we're going to be digesting and chewing on for the time that this end is going to continue, because we're sitting with it right now.
We're sitting in this
We're
end.
sitting in it. Like
Absolutely.
you gave this talk at a very timely moment
Yes.
in the world. One of the audience questions was, this is a doozy, what are the greatest needs?
Greatest needs. You know, one of the things that we've talked about is just community, wouldn't you say? Like, you know, you talk about something shifts when I know you, or when I know you, you know, and then it suddenly all makes sense. Everything that I have access to and all my gifts makes sense, because I know where to begin to share those, and there's this wonderful mutuality that happens, and so. You know, the greatest need, I think, is that need of connection.
Connection, yeah.
So we just saw there's a North Carolina State University study of North Carolinians where they just asked North Carolinians to name their number one struggle, and the number one struggle of North Carolinians is disconnection.
Man.
Yeah, and I think a need in general is to pay attention. Excuse me. So, you know, we kind of recognize a lot because we're on the ground every day, but just kind of paying attention more to people as you pass by on the street or in the grocery store, or you know, realizing that everybody has a need. Excuse me. And I think, you know, as an organization, one of the needs that we have is to plug in to some of the work that we do, whether it's the work in the Latinx community, or support with the street medic team, or support with sponsoring one of our micro homes in the village. So those are kind of like organizational needs. But I think on a personal level, it's to really like pay attention and realize that there's a lot of need out there with everybody that you encounter.
Yeah, and what Adrian's bringing up is the work that BeLoved Asheville does and is doing, and we will post some links at the bottom of this video so that you can join them and learn about all that you're doing. And I love that you're bringing up the realistic need of money, because the goal isn't money, but it's the tool, and it has to happen. Like we need it. And it allows other things to happen, and so I support you in that cry for support,
Yes.
and that's what lifts up the work, and
Yes.
that's what
We need
pushes.
each other.
Yes.
And then we need, you know, resources that people have, like you say, can really change things when we unleash resources. And you talked about sharing. It really is about sharing.
Yeah.
And when we unleash those resources, the joy that comes because we're changing our own lives and the lives of other people, and we're connecting.
Yeah.
So it all goes together. But those resources, like you say, are vital to push the work forward, and it can be any level of resource. We have a monthly sustainer that gives $2 a month. It's one of my favorite donations, because she has
powerful.
very little, and she's offering it to people that she believes has even less resources.
Or the person that came yesterday to clean our front yard.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah, somebody called us and said, "Oh, you know, I'm gonna come and clean your front yard," because sometimes we are too busy doing other things. Then the grass was like this big, so she came and cleaned because she knows there is a need. And she cared about us because we care about the community too. So she came and cleaned, and we back to the house, and was very nice to came to the house, and then was like clean. Like
I
this.
Breathe out, you're like,
I got out of the car and I was like, I mean, it took me a second, because just to know that somebody had taken the time, whether it was 10, 15 minutes, to just help us in that way. And
It says, "I see you and I love you."
I see you. Yeah.
And I think that's what a resource, when you're sharing a resource, a gift of your time, a gift of your funds, and saying, "I see you and I love you, and I want to join you in the struggle with everything that I have, my full self." And I think that's really special when we do that for and with each other.
Having BeLoved here, I had it's been such a perfectly timed thing. For me personally, I think for Asheville, I just want to tell them our video is way over right now, but I don't care. But I was walking down Wall Street, and I saw these knitted things on the posts walking down the street, and I thought they were interesting, and I looked at them, and there's this little paper on it that said, donate to the BeLoved Village. And I was like, what is this, BeLoved Village? And it said tiny homes, and it had this little write-up, and I was very interested in it. I was like, this is something that I believe needs to happen. It has to happen.
Yes.
And when we were at our first meeting together, I didn't realize, I didn't put it together somehow. It was like 2 weeks ago, but I didn't put it together until you brought up the village. And so I wanted to tell everyone on this video, they are actually hand clearing an acre to put 12
micro homes.
12 tiny homes on this land for 12 families, or they're in the process now of building this, and I think it's a big deal. This is not affordable housing this is affordable housing according to the need for actual affordable housing. And
We
you
call it
guys
deeply affordable.
Deeply affordable.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful thing. And so I want to tell everyone on this video, watching this video, and everyone who sees their talk, to go and look into this and support this. And I'm going to be helping build it as much as I can. And you brought up something what was interesting is that in this resource, in this community, and the sharing of resources and passion.
Yes.
And so they BeLoved team put out a message needing a land surveyor, and then they had someone connect you to someone you already knew.
Yes.
And it was like this whole, to me, in that story, we don't even know the access that we possess
amazing.
when we're all together, when we're all
Yes.
connected. And so,
Yes, and the BeLoved Village has really taught us that.
Yeah.
You know, we have volunteers that are sharing their gifts pro bono. And so we have a civil engineer,
Yeah.
a builder, a subcontractor, a land survey team, architects, and these were all people that were already in our network.
And this is
so
the
we
power.
have everything we need,
Yeah.
right, to create the very thing that would keep Janet from dying. We have all that right in our sphere.
right here.
And we can do it together, and that's what we love about even hand clearing the land, which we are trying to really work with sustainability. We know we're in a climate crisis too, and
Yeah.
so we try to co-solve issues, and that's really powerful. But we were on the land, and somebody came up carrying a piece of bamboo that we had cleared, and she said, "This is amazing." And I said, what feels that way to you? And she said, doing something, being able to be a solution with other people in that community, getting out from behind our screens where we often drink the poison.
Yeah.
And I told her this, I believe, is the antidote to the poison. It's the place where we show up and other people show up, and we can be the change, like you said, be the one that we've been waiting for, and a 2 and 3 and 4, and suddenly we're building villages for and with each other, where people can live in community, where they can produce equity for themselves, which is really powerful.
It's
That's
powerful.
never happened at a deeply affordable rate.
Yeah, so there's such goodness to this project, so look into it and dig into their thinking on it and what they need. And if you have a passion or you have a gift to give, this is the call, this is the community getting the chance to come together, and it's going to grow. I believe it's going to grow.
We hope it will grow and grow and grow.
I totally know it will. All right, we're going to do 3 final rapid wrap-up questions.
Awesome.
Yep.
So, what is your favorite spot in Asheville?
Buzzard Rock.
I would say our new community space on Market Street, which is just this cultural oasis of love in the city.
I think, between the community center and the river, Fresh Broad River.
Yeah.
And it's long.
Yeah.
It's long, but this is spot.
It's a lot to love.
Yeah.
Lots to
There's
love.
a lot to love
I
here.
love that. All right, next one. What is your favorite time of day?
Sunset.
Oh, the morning coffee.
I think morning when I release, then I'm still here.
Yeah. When you hear the word creativity, who comes to mind?
I would say Mila and Alicia, the twins. The girls just love art. They're always drawing, and I think because they're around people that are inspired by art, and so as their mom, it just makes me really proud to be seeing the world through their creative eyes.
I think in my mother and my father, they teach me a lot about art not about painting, only about the art of living and sharing. So yeah.
I think everybody, sorry. I think everybody has a creativity, whether it's art or music or just speaking or whatever. I think that there's something in everybody that is a creative portion.
That's the power of being human.
The spark.
It's the spark. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Sorry the video went so long, but I think it's meant to be, and it was worth it. And we'll post all the links that are valuable to you, the listener, and also their video will be coming up in a couple weeks. So thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next month.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.